Welcome back, my friends. We're moving into task 10 and it's build shared understanding. So let's take a look at what PMI has for us in this task. Taking a look at this, we've got 4 enablers. Break down the situation to identify the root cause of a misunderstanding. Survey all necessary parties to reach consensus. Support outcome of parties' agreement and investigate potential misunderstandings. Now, to understand where this is coming from, let's take a look at the old content outline for clarity. So first of all, we're talking about developing the communications management plan, because guess what? This will help us to break down the situation. However, we're going to communicate based on the organizational structure and the stakeholder requirements in order to define and manage the flow of project information. However that's defined, we want to follow that. How do we survey parties to reach consensus? We conduct a benefit analysis early in the project, that's in initiating. But if we're beyond that, we develop a stakeholder engagement plan by analyzing needs, interests, and potential impact to effectively manage stakeholders' expectations and engage them in project decisions. Third one here, support outcome of all parties. In the old outline, we have monitor procurement activities. So this is where we ensure that the outcomes from a procurement are what we expected. And last but not least, we have developed the communications management plan again. So when you really look at it, whichever way we can, we need to understand issues on the project. We need to understand the root cause of misunderstandings. We need to survey all necessary parties. Necessary, not every party, but those that are necessary to reach consensus. Some people shouldn't be invited into certain decision-making sessions, to be honest. So I want to invite the right people, get consensus, support the outcome of the agreements, and investigate potential misunderstanding. So it's kind of this plan, do, check, act when it comes to issue management and more of these misunderstandings and misalignments that we term as issues anyway. So break down the situation to identify the root cause of a misunderstanding. What comes to mind? The Ishikawa. It's a great way. Now, the root cause analysis could be accentuated by using an Ishikawa fishbone diagram, because when you get hands-on and visual with it, the root cause just comes out. So the what, where, when, why, how, who, the 5 W's and the H people call them, you could use that to get down to the bottom of it. The next enabler here is survey all necessary parties to reach consensus. It's very straightforward. Whether we are in the early stages of the project in initiating or we're far gone in executing, we could use a survey. It's called questionnaires and surveys, questionnaires or surveys. We could use a survey, okay, and just survey all parties. It's not rocket science, to be honest, just very simple. And a lot of times people don't. You know, I once asked a project manager who was in misalignments with management and the stakeholder. I said, why don't you just survey the stakeholder? And the project manager said, oh, my management doesn't want to get bad news. I just shook my head. Seriously, you want to continue delivering invaluable stuff, or not valuable stuff, I should say, to the stakeholder? You should just survey them and ask, are we doing a good job or not? But the boss doesn't want to hear it's a bad job they're doing. The boss knows they're doing a bad job. That's not good. We don't want to do that. We want to do this. Survey all necessary parties, be they stakeholders, be they team members, project management team, whoever it is. Just survey when you need to and get that information. And then the next step that the PMI talks about is support the outcome of parties' agreement. So if there is an agreement to proceed in a particular way on the project, support the outcome. You know, if the team has agreed on something and you know that it's not going to end up taking the company out of business, and just support it. You know, go with what the team agrees on. So in this case, we're talking more about monitoring procurement activities according to the procurement management plan in order to verify compliance with project objectives. So a lot of this stuff, it seems like all over the place. It's rather abstract, but to keep it straight, the bottom line is agreements and supporting team performance, supporting outcomes. That's really it. And if there's a misunderstanding, we want to investigate potential misunderstandings, okay, in both directions. So in summary, what we've really talked about here is breaking down a situation. There are two places in the PMBOK guide where you can get some further clarity on all this. The first one is in resource management, where we talk about control resources, where we talk about the ideas C approach. And the second one is where we talk about the DIGSIV approach in 8.2. So when we break down a problem to identify the root cause of the misunderstanding, want to get to a consensus on the way forward, move forward, support the outcome of parties in agreement, and then investigate potential misunderstandings again. Okay, so this is really more of an action item list maintenance thing and building shared understanding based on feedback that you've received or things that are just communicated through osmosis on the project, okay? So build shared understanding, get people on the same page. That's really what this is all about. And for this one, we are going to a question from 8.2. And here is the question. And here is your poll relaunched. And I understand if you say, Phil, I need a break. I understand. So if you cannot vote, I understand. No pressure. All right. I understand your inability to choose an option. We've been going for 4.5 hours, so I do understand. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's end the poll. Thank you very much for voting. Those are the results. And indeed, the majority chose A. The answer is A, okay? So this is from Manage Quality, and I gave it to you to refresh your memory. It describes design for X. So if you open up the PMBOK guide, you see it is designed for X. All right, and that concludes task 10. You guys did it. You got to 10 tasks. Now it's time for a break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll start off again on the mad dash to the finish.